So it's time to wrap up this unwrap process. We actually have finished up uh, all of our character, and let's go in here and select on the mesh, and just go into inside of polygon mode and go in and unhide all, so we can see where we're standing here with our characters. We can see everything has been unwrapped, and we have our checkerboard pattern running all across our guy here. Now it's time to basically go around and set all the checkerboard set to a particular size. As we can see, there's a lot more resolution on these pieces right here compared to his chest and his face, and we really don't want that. So if we go into our unwrap and go into edit, I can see that there are all of the pieces that make up the character. And if we wanted to really quickly just get them all inside of this square, which is where they have to be, I could select all of them and go Tools, Pack UVs, hit OK. And as you can see, it lines them all up, going from the smallest piece out to the largest piece. And while that really didn't do a terrible job, there's still some issues that we have. I'm gonna hit undo, and the main problem is well, let's go ahead and I'll do it again so we can show you the other one. Pack UVs, and we'll do recursive this time, and hit OK. So as you can see, it's still doing a pretty good job. Notice here's the head, and it's flipped upside down. Here's one of the legs, here's one of the other legs, here's the shoulder pad, here's one foot, there's the other foot. So there's not a lot of logic. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to take all these guys, and like the first thing I can tell is that the shoulder pad here it's taken up entirely too many pixels. So I'll just go ahead and take that guy and scale him down. That's about right. Okay, now I've got all these little pieces here, which I never got around to doing. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. And I think yeah, there's one. Okay. Let's just scale that down. Okay, now they're still, I can tell just by looking at the front here that they're still way too big. Something like that's probably a little better, considering how little space it actually takes up on the mesh. There's the neck. And as we're doing this, we have to constantly be asking ourselves, you know, how much texture do we want to afford to a certain area? How important is the area? Like the face, probably it's going to be one of the areas that we could try to get the most texture space afforded to it without going crazy. Like right there, that's probably a little better. It's a little bit more resolution than the body, but it's not ridiculous. Like there's a big difference between the face and the headband. Let's see, having to scale that this big in order to meet the resolution size on that, it's probably not going to be the way we want to do things. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to squeeze the headband, put it inside of here, and let's see. Okay, that's not terrible. There's the top of his head. And then as I get these pieces, I'll start putting them in. I'm just going to try to put them in where they make sense as much as possible. So there's the neck. Let's see if we can go find, here's the stomach. Get these guys out the way. So as we can see, this is the entire stomach area, and there's definitely a discrepancy here between the size of the stomach and the neck. That works out a little better there. But I'm going to try to push this as much as I can. And we might even end up having to, because I know that there's a lot of information that's going on in this piece right here. And I might even just rotate the neck piece. Okay, let's see, what are some other major pieces here? The legs, we definitely need to get the legs in here. And as I can see that trying to fit this entire character in here to where it not only makes sense, but we're given enough texture space to all the objects. It's going to be relatively difficult. So we have to constantly be willing to change our plan, make adjustments. And depending on the character, what we might ultimately end up doing is actually breaking this guy, these pieces, down into different texture maps. For example, let me see if I can just find good area here. So like this, I could probably rotate and slam along the side here. Rotate that one. Scale this down a little bit. So there's the neck, there's the legs, there's the stomach, the head. Okay, and look at all we still have left. So what we might end up doing is, like I said, break them into different texture maps. We'll have one texture map for, let's say, the upper body, one for the lower body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can see, so we've got the chest. I might want to take this so far that, let's say we do on this guy, for example, I might want to push the chest as much as I can. Let's get as much as I can with the face. There's the neck. The thing we got to remember about the top of his head is we're still going to do the hair. So, alright, well, I think that might work out okay. My only issue with it really is the neck. I just would much rather be like this. It would just make it easier to texture. And I'm not really seeing a place. I could put it without shrinking something else. So I might have to just deal with that for now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, and if I really want to, I could throw in some of these smaller pieces. Let's say like the shoulder pad. Could throw that in there. Now it's getting too big. I want that a little bit larger. Okay, so I might have to call this one texture map for now. So let's see how we're going to handle that. Alright, so go ahead and close it. And we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing. Collapse it down. And here inside of polygon mode, I'm going to come down to our material IDs, and I'm going to go ahead and set these guys to let's say we'll set it to 1. Hit enter. Okay, now I'm gonna come in here and make me a new material, and standard, we're gonna make it a multi-sub, keep old. There's gonna be, let's say 3 for now. We might end up going 4. And we'll come in here and let's call this head, and we're going to put the checker map. We'll tile it up, and what we're going to do with this one though, just so we can kind of see that it's different, this one will be colored blue. Okay, so the head is going to be blue. Now I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and we'll come inside and make this one say green. And we'll do the same thing again. And maybe these will be, I don't know, orange. Just something very easy to see that there's a difference. Okay, so if I apply set ID to 1, okay, so I'm going to get out of subobject mode and go ahead and apply the material to our character. Crap, let me undo. I want to still be selected on this guy right here. So it's set to 1. Okay. I guess I could, yeah, because it needs to be assigned to the whole thing. So we'll assign it. Put the unwrap. We'll come in here. As we see, we still have everything. So select everything, close it, collapse. See it set to 1. See that by setting it to 2 or 3, it's going to change the colors. Okay, so that one's good. Okay, so now we go into our unwrap. We can see that right here. So we see everything is on map channel 1 right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on this guy again. Control I to select inverse. So now we're selected on everything else. And we can collapse. Okay, and we come back down. We see we set it to 2. Okay, so now everything else is going to be on 2. Right? So we add our unwrap again. You see we can now look at just map channel 1 and map channel 2. So now I'm going to take these arms, let's put them in here. Probably could go ahead and do the shoulder pads. And I'm going to get all these little pieces that go with it. All these guys are going to be in here as well. So again, I'm just trying to watch this and just want to try to see if I can get it to be about the same texture size as everything else. And that's looking alright to me. Okay, so we have the arms. Just maybe push the resolution on these guys a little bit more, which really wouldn't be a bad thing. Okay, so what else? We got the hands we could throw in here. We got the feet. We'll probably do the feet and the legs. There's the belt. We'll probably throw that in. And you'll see right here, this is our straps, and what I ended up doing was putting these on. As you can see, I've got a few. So essentially, they're all sitting right on top of each other, and then I have the bottom half, the top half, bottom half, and they're all layered right on top of each other as well. So that's actually all of those and all of those in one area. So let's go ahead and move these guys in. Yeah, that's like a pretty good texture size to me. Okay, what else we got? What's this? Okay, it's that part, which actually probably should end up going back on the other one. We'll leave that one for now. What else we got? There's the straps. I think I could definitely get the straps in here. So let's do one of these straps. And that texture size really isn't that bad. I really probably should try to line these guys up. I'll just stack them up for right now. Okay. So there's one part of the strap, and I need to somehow get this other one in there. Let's see. It would make the most sense if I could leave it sitting there. I'm just gonna have to scale that down. What's this? Something. Oh, it's that one part. It's polygons that we missed. So they're really inconsequential, so I'll just throw them over there somewhere. Okay, and we have, it's about the same size. Alright, so that is the arms, his straps, and the shoulder pads. So that means I can get the lower body on the next texture sheet. Still have these hands to deal with. They're only I don't think these hands are gonna go on here. I mean, if I lined them up and put them right on each other, I maybe could. Well, I'm just going to go with it like that for now. Yeah, I don't really see there being much of a choice. Alright, so we'll leave this one. So, what I'm going to do, just be easier to select everything else. Like that. So that way I'm not messing with what we've already done. And we'll come in here and we'll set this to 3. Oh, not selected on anything. Why are we not selected on anything? There's 1. Selected on everything else. Collapse. Selected on those. Set it to 3. There. So again, there they all are. And we can, so there's 1, 2, and there's 3. So this one, we're going to try to do the legs. Whoops. And that texture size looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to leave these guys down here at the bottom. Okay, let's see. We got the belt. That probably could get shrunk down a little bit. So let's line those up there. That again was that piece for the bandana. Okay, so there's the legs. Let's get these boots. Okay, now we've got these pieces. Do these at the same time. Again, we're just trying to find nice arrangements. Okay, I can see there's a little bit more texture space on the legs than there on the boots. So let's bump these up just a little bit more. That's a little better. Okay, now we've got all these pieces. And for such a I don't want to say an unimportant area, but don't want to waste another texture map trying to get all of the lower body in there. Just work this out. And these guys might actually have to go right on top of each other. There's really not a point. I mean, this area of the mesh really does not, it just isn't that important. You know, like I said, unless you want to have it to where you know, we can see that there's something different about this piece versus this piece. I really don't think that it's gonna make a bit of difference. So I'm just going to go around, and I'm going to put this guy right on top of the other one. And we'll freeze that. And I'll just run around. And line this guy up. Okie. So let's unfreeze all. And okay, so those guys are good. Now, as you can see, even if I kept those different, I could even rotate that, put that there, make that one there, and what is that? Those pieces. Okay, so these are his bandana, those are his hands, and those are actually the inside of his eyes. And I'm going to throw those on here because they are of no importance. Never even going to see them. So I'm just going to throw them down here in the corner. They do not matter. Okay, so I have to ask myself, do I want to put on another texture just for the hands? Normally I would say no, but since this guy's hands are so big on his body, they probably could, you know, stand to have their own texture. So I think that we're at the go with that. So I'll put all of them, all these guys, on their own UV coordinates. So we'll go back in here and select collapse, yes, polygon mode. Okay, we'll come here and I'll add a fourth. We'll copy that, and we'll come in here and let's see, what could we do? Guess we'll do something like this. Alright. And we'll set that one to 4. Oops. So now we have, and so 1 is the head, so I'm going to go ahead and name these. We'll call this the head map, and I'll just hit this one right here to bounce right to the next one. So the green is the arms, the orange is the legs, and the pink is the hands. There we go. So now when I go in here, and let's go ahead and close that, let it refresh itself. There we go. So there's the leg mesh, there's the head, there's the arms, and we just got to get the hands in here. Alright, so let's see here. So one of the things I'm going to try to do, I'm going to line these guys up. They're going to have to get scaled down. That's all there is to it. The hands actually probably wouldn't be a bad candidate to layer right on top of each other, just to get the mesh exactly the same. Okay, those are bandana. That's the bandana. Okay, so here's the thumb. You know what? I want to take this, pack UVs. There we go. Another thing I'll do, I'll rotate, just because that's the way I would prefer to paint on them. And I'm just moving them off the edge. Okay, there's the thumb. Scale that down. Okay, bandana piece. Bandana piece. This is another bandana piece. Okay. I'll put these thumb pieces over here. Whoops. And then I can leave these thumb pieces over here. Okay, so I can see I've got some space if I really wanted to push a little bit more resolution in a certain direction, but they're looking pretty even to me. So we'll just go with that. Okay, so there's the hands, legs, head, and the arms. So we now can say that our character is unwrapped. So when I save it, we'll call this unwrapped. And now we can move on to the next stage, which will be actually rendering out the kind of maps that we would use to take into Photoshop. And we're going to do that in the next video.